Tom and I met briefly at a Tech House Venture Network meeting, I think a month or two ago, and you're introduced by somebody that I work with, and then we're going to be on a conference call, I think together Thursday. Right, because you're doing business with the SBDC, Small Business Development Centers. So you and I really don't know each other, and I certainly don't know your background with respect to tonight's topic. So I'm going to get to enjoy it as much as you do. I can tell you that I was very impressed when I met Tom. You'll find him very articulate and a wealth of experience. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Tom Markle, who's going to talk about, should we get into a fad? Okay, so please join me in welcoming Tom. And we will, this was a show.
Well, thanks, Steve, for the kind intro. I'm very honored to be in your presence. You are a very, very bright group of people, obviously from the 5 short presentations that you made. And it is deeply an honor to be here, as I have yet to get a college degree, so it's really honorable to be in your presence. And someday, with a little work, I will. How many of you have been poor or broke? So, very poor and very broke. It makes you creative, doesn't it? I mean, all those of you who have been really poor, those of you who have not been really poor, I'd recommend you try it. Because it's going to make you extraordinarily creative. Now, I've been taught in my life from some experiences, there's only 2 ways to get rich. Option it or inherit it. How many are inheriting it? So, that only leaves one other option, to option it. So, if you guys are in big companies, how many of your big companies have given you stock options already? So we have a couple over here that have stock options. Are there any handcuffs to those stock options? 3-year vesting, cliff vesting?
Yeah.
Okay.
40 shares at the first or the second year.
Okay.
And then 30 more, 2 more years after that, and then 30 more.
With a certain strike price that hopefully is above the price you've been issued them at?
I lucked out there.
Yeah, good. Well, a lot of people didn't.
This is very low.
Yeah, good. So we are in the business to figure out how to option and to get rich. And the only way really to do that is option it. And I would suggest is option your own shares. In other words, you start your own business and you have your own stock, and that has some value someday in the future. Now, I'm here to talk to you about chasing a fad and monetizing a business. And the chasing the fad is, one of the people said something about consumer. It's related to the consumer. And that may be true. But I want to share with you a couple of these issues. And do everybody know who that is? Dirty Harry? That's a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. And what did he say to the bad guy? Do you feel lucky? So, how many of you want to start a business, own your own business in here? Do you feel lucky? Now, I'm going to tell you, that person up there holding, what's he look like today? Someone starting a small business. Who's holding the .44 Magnum at your head? VCs. The VCs. Who else? Customers. Okay, customers. So let's just write this down. So I got VCs. I got customers. Who else? Competitors. Who else? Banks. Wife. Laugh. This is how many of you are married? How many are married? Okay, spouses, so you have a wife or a husband. I'm going to talk for a few seconds about the spouse issue. It's huge. Who else? What else? Who else is holding a .44 Magnum to your head?
All your creditors, basically.
Competitors? Okay.
Creditors.
Oh, creditors. Yeah, vendors. Okay. Creditors. Okay. Yep, IRS. Okay, who else? Anybody else? Customers. We got customers, VCs, banks, partners, employees, the trends, economic issues, fads. So we have a number of market conditions, the economy. One of the young fellows talked about, it must have been in marketing. Are you in advertising? You did a good presentation on that. So you have the press. Today, the press is dangerous. It's really, really dangerous. I mean, it can put you out of business very quick. So there's a lot of .44 Magnums pointed at your head. And I would suggest that because you have an MBA, you have probably learned the good, bad, and ugly, or will by the end of the day. When you graduated out of here, your coach or your professor and friends will have hopefully given you enough reasons to either ask yourself, are you crazy or just plain stupid to start your own business? Now, I would suggest, let's go on. What do you think it takes to be successful in this business? Now, without a lot of answers, I'm just going to give you my thought on that. My thought on that is that you've been poor, you're poor, one. Two is you have ADD, ADHD, you're dyslexic, and you stutter. That is probably the most successful person that's going to be a success in this world, because ADD and ADHD and all those people, Charles Schwab, dyslexic, stuttered, all these people have real problems to get over in their life. And they don't really kind of fit in the mainstream of corporate America. They're kicked out, so they're forced to really kind of figure out how to make it successful. And that really leads me to the next issue, which is we're talking about the lawyers and hiring lawyers, the professor, and I completely agree with him that lawyers and accountants, you need to surround yourself with some very smart people. But if you were like me, and I grew up so poor that I'm going to tell you my age, so I have this Buffalo nickel. I mean, I squeezed that thing so hard it crapped. So it's because you really, really have to push every dollar. And when you're given, $1 million or 500,000 or 100,000, it seems like, oh my God, I have a fortune. I mean, I'm going to hire smart people. I'm going to run into nice offices. I'm going to have the ultimate computers. And what you find out if you start your business and you go broke, which I hope every one of you does in this room, starts a business and goes broke, because people will trust you better when you're broke. So get it done quick, okay? Get it done while you're in college. Get it done while you're in MBA. Get in that business and go flat broke, and you'll be trusted by every VC because you got experience. So I've got 9 companies under my belt. I've been broke in 5, made a lot of money in 2, and an enormous fortune in 2. And so I'm going to share with you kind of how I did that, being a guy that's just, without an education, just got up every morning and put on my pants and went to work. But somebody said in here about notice the environment. Who did that? Somebody said you got to experience the environment. So I'd like to share with you before I do that, it reminds me that my dad used to say I'm a 3rd-generation small business guy. We were given the 7th Ford dealership in the United States by Henry Ford. Henry Ford was coming through the property in Omaha with his Model A, and he broke down, and our horse buggies carried him off the property, and he had dinner with my great-grandparents, and so he gave him a dealership. And so we have a dealership, and we have mortuaries, and it's always been a struggle to find money around the house. And my dad had an airline business from Denver to Aspen. I grew up in Denver. And he always said, in small business, you're either going to be in Cyrano's drinking the wine or in Fresno smashing the grapes. There's no in between. That's just the way it's going to be all your life. And I've smashed a lot of grapes in my life, but I do love good wine. So let me share with you my first venture. I love small business, and I have a real passion for small business people because I know what they have to go through to get to make it. Again, your wife doesn't want you to be successful. Your family's saying, go get a job. She wants you to be successful, but she's saying, really, go get a good job. Go get a real job, okay? Your family wants you out. The IRS wants you out. The taxes want you out. The competitor wants you out. If you've survived the onslaught of the barbarian horde, you have done a hell of a thing for the economy, right? I mean, 70% of the gross domestic product is small businesses. 99% of all new employees go to work for a small business, under 50 people. There are 26 million small businesses in the United States. 17 million of them have one employee. 17 million have one employee, okay? So 61% of the businesses are turned down for a loan because of a poor loan package. The average small business goes to market 4 times a year for money. The average small business approaches 4 banks before being approved. I mean, lots of problems exist in getting a small business up. Are you crazy or just plain stupid?